Swab, brother Swab, brother Swab, brother Swab.
Hey, what's going on?
Oh man, blessings to you on this Sabbath, man, and good to see you, brother. What's going on with you?
Well, man, had a great day, or should I say a swab amazing day. Just try to um be as productive as I can. Been writing a lot of content, getting myself ready for that first season, and interviewed about 11 people yesterday. So excited, really excited. Man, let me tell you, it was amazing getting the chance to meet people. I came up with this way of how to track down talent, how to track down people who are doing things, progressive people. And I just, I'm always experimenting, trying out new stuff. And so it was a particular individual that I tracked down via social media. And so I was just asking a question that, have we ever run to one another? And so he was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, tell me. And the brother was just telling me, he said, I met you through uh he said used to come on Valley Parker. He used to be with Les Brown. I said, only a few people knew that I was in that circle. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, well, he said, yeah. And I was like, wow, small circle. He said, it just been so long ago.
Brother, you know what? I got like two mute buttons, and I need to get in my engineering mindset because I'm over here. I got a little board over here, and I got
Uh-huh.
the software open over here. But the beauty of it all though is that both of you are still here, and
Yes.
yeah, that's the amazing part, man. And to be able to have a rare connection, because I was just talking to my wife about this about 20, 30 minutes ago. I was like, you know what? I say, first of all, it's very rare that you meet someone that is born on the same day, but then to meet someone that's born on the same day in the same year, that's
Mm-hmm.
even more rare. But
Uh-huh.
then to meet someone that you were born on the same day, same year, in same hospital, it's
Mm-hmm.
almost impossible. And that's why I figured that, I love the fact that you put the divine concept in your practice because,
Yeah.
some things are divine. Some things just strictly are divine. And I was telling, the queen that, here it is. I met you and we were born on the same exact day.
Yeah.
And then I said, look at this though. The crazy part, baby, is my brother. We found out years later. We didn't know one another. Then even when we
Mhm.
got a chance to know one another, we just still didn't know. When you told me you was born in Miami, osteopathic, and I just sat back and I was just floored because we were born on the same day in the same hospital. I'm like, what room were you in? You feel me? So
Yeah.
there's a divine intervention and intertwining in what we're doing, brother. So
Mhm.
I'm glad the fact that you brought that divine concept because it has to be some type of spirituality to keep you balanced,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
keep you wholesome, and to keep you grounded and have a foundation. So I love it, man.
Yeah.
Talk to me, man.
Yeah. And so the
Talk to
funny
me.
thing is that as you mentioned, I think what happens is again, over the years, I've been so consistent with it, didn't and so many people was like, yo, why are you doing this? And why? And I was very consistent with the three things: social, spiritual, and clinical. And people was like, and now so many people are gravitating and understanding it. However, again, 20 and 30 years back, you know me, they were like, see weird, what's up with him? I I was gradually building my dream, my legacy, and was consistent with following through the things that I was created for. And these are things that did not exist socially. He wasn't talking about what I was talking about. It was just, and then eventually it comes together. And so when I was sitting there, and even when I mentioned it, that I coined the thing, divine social therapist, and people are like, oh my God, that sounds so amazing. And then again, I think it's starting to, people are starting to respect it, and it's relatively new. But I think people are putting it together and
Well,
having an appreciation for me.
the reason I appreciate it is because it's not relatively new to you because your forward thought put you there, and being in weird status really only showed where your uniqueness was,
Mm-hmm.
where your thought outside of the box was at that time, which was really unheard of. The term outside the box wasn't even in existence at that time. So, I can appreciate that, and I feel good about it because in the same realm with me on this media side, it's the
Mm-hmm.
same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a point that you have to forward think, you have to sit still sometimes so the creator can bring that to you though, and you were able to be that vessel where you can receive it because not, some people are given over to a reprobate mind where they can't receive their blessings and their grace because they don't recognize it or they can't see it. They're just not in the right place to do it. So I
Mm-hmm.
can appreciate it, man. That's why I was thinking about it today. I'm like, yeah, man, it's some things that was put together beyond us, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad to be a part of it. I'm glad the fact that we get a chance to build it. I received your information that you sent me over the other day, so
Yeah.
I'm glad about that. So now I can kind of start helping to bring things in the picture, and we can have more conversations, so we can fully bring it in the picture and create it to be something that you foresee.
Yeah.
In offline, I got some things to share with you about drbrotherswab.com. You know, so I got some things to speak to you about that. And but yeah, man, I'm just glad we're here. I'm glad we got a chance to come into this Saturday Cipher. It's a little bit
Yeah.
different. We're on the Sabbath, but this is a time for us to renew, regenerate, just restore. That's what the Sabbath is about. That's that day of rest when you get a chance to sit back and think about your previous week, but
Mm-hmm.
at the same
Yeah.
time think about the present that you're in. And then you have to think about that little 2% a day of improvement or whatever the improvement you might need to make tomorrow. But it's in the same token. Listen, y'all, we got Dr. King Day coming up on Monday, so
Mm-hmm.
hey, y'all got to get ready for that because we probably going to do a special broadcast on Dr. King Day after speaking to those
Yeah.
two kings. The three kings got together and figured that we were going to do a Dr. King broadcast because we think that he deserves that from us.
Yeah. Absolutely. We have to always remain again focused on the people who open the doors for us. I wish they would have a Thurgood Marshall Day. I believe that because Thurgood Marshall put those laws in place so King could do what he did,
He
and
was
sometimes we forget
amazing,
that. We
and that's
recognize this person, and I mean, we all got mixed feelings because good, bad, or evil, or whatever, they still have some contribution to the world history. But a lot of times, Mahatma Gandhi, is when we learned about his history, King contributed a lot of his success to him in terms of his philosophy. But King Murray should have recognized Thurgood Marshall because Thurgood Marshall was on that road by himself, not with a bunch of people to protect him. And he fought the good fight. He went out there, opened the doors, created those laws, and did those things, and King benefited from it. So I
I
think
agree.
and so I look at a lot of our unsung heroes, our heroes who done things. I recognize them, and sometimes we overly critical, just like complaining about sometimes black businesses, and then we'll go to McDonald's or Walmart who have the worst customer service, but then we complain about the black business. Sometimes we have to look at some of the people. They may be. Remember how people used to complain about uh um uh Al Sharpton? I mean, he always doing that, but he was the
Right.
only one who would actually fight for us. And then it's a one person. Like I remember starting my law enforcement in the '80s. Now '80s was a decade right after the '70s, and the '70s right after the '60s, and they wouldn't hire black law enforcement officers. And so it's a particular person who was actually driven to open the doors for black law enforcement officers, and they didn't have a lot of them. And I think sometimes they said, well, he's always raising and complaining about everything. But at the end of the day, yes, he may complain. He may made everything a race issue, but the bottom line is he opened the door for a lot of us. And I think sometimes we have to be appreciative to what he done. Yeah, he may complain, he may fuss, but this man opened the doors for a lot of people. And at the end of the day, people who only require the system only require you to have a high school diploma to get in fire, police, and corrections. And this man fought because they wouldn't allow it. And if you know anything like I know, Miami-Dade Fire, Police, and Correction opened a lot of doors for people to have financial security just having a high school diploma, and that was a result of a few of those brothers and sisters who fought for that blacks can get jobs in fire, police, and corrections. And they always complain about what he did, but we got to start recognizing these people that the country may not know, but they open the doors for us, you know. And it is not always the popular person, but the people who's in the trenches and was fighting a good fight. And so, me personally, I think we should have a Thurgood Marshall Day.
I agree, and the reason I say that too is, for me being a youngin man, my daddy was born in 1919. He old school.
Okay.
So that's who that was the guy that a lot of them used to pull from. That's one thing about us back in the old school. I mean, when I say old school, I'm talking about old school. I'm talking about those ones that was born in the late teens, 20s and 30s. When it comes down to that, they kind of groomed us quite a bit differently.
Yeah.
Because we had no back then we didn't have choices. That's the difference between then and now. Now we have choices. We have a bit more freedom than we did previously. Back then we had no choices, especially when it comes down to patronizing our own businesses.
Yeah.
Being able to village raise a child concept, because I couldn't go down the road and cut up and be around a girl the wrong way, and there's a neighbor that's there and watching me, because it'll be a problem. And the thing about it was that my parents didn't have a problem with it, because the first thing they're going to say is, "Oh, I'm getting ready to call Fred and Maggie and tell them what you're doing." And see, that was the worst thing for us is I don't want them to call my mom and my daddy, because when I get home, it's going to really be a problem. They might not lay hands on us, but the point is they help keep us in a certain order. And I think that's a challenge that we have right now is, the order, having some type of order or discipline.
You know what?
So open and so free, and I don't mind the open and freedom. The freedom is not a word, but I understand the openness and freedom. But at the same time, we need to make sure that we keep our culture preserved, and that's what we're looking to do in Neighborhood Planning. That's the reason that we're here, because we're here to preserve our culture. Our culture is rich in value, and it's so rich in tradition, and we need to maintain that. It needs to be a point where our ancestors and who came before us is well respected and understand their sacrifices as well, because without their sacrifices, believe it or not, in this construct that we live in called America, things would be totally, totally different if they wouldn't have sacrificed what they did, brother. I mean, help tell me if I'm wrong or not, but help me understand.
Yeah. And this is why sometimes I just got this book yesterday. It's my third book this week. And the book, it says, my name is common, but my resume isn't. This brother's talking about preserving our community and educating ourselves, because historically we have been failed. The stuff we learn about America, all these laws, the things we learned about Christopher Columbus, and here I am getting my feelings hurt in school. The teachers telling me this and this and that, and I'm like, no, that's not right. You understand? And the thing is, I understood the benefit of getting educated at home, and one of the things that we have consistently did was rely on a system to educate us. And what we did was we was basically throwing our children in a school system with plain ignorance and believing everything was said. So it was very challenging for me, saying that's not true, and here I am being alienated, saying, why is he always saying something about these books? These books wasn't true. And so it made me think about, we have to start educating our children. We need to start actually addressing things like we need to address. And when you said order, right? And you were talking about back in the days how if you did something, your parents will say something. And so it clicked. And guess what? You ready for this? What is the first letter in the alphabet?
Okay.
A, right?
Okay, I'm with
so
you.
when we're talking about order, it's going, you got to start off with A, first letter in the alphabet. And guess what it is? Dealing with accountability. Because before we do anything, we got to start being accountable. We hold ourselves accountable. We hold our community accountable. And that's the first line of order. First thing of business. Accountability starting with an A. And that keeps us in order, because we got to start taking these little steps and addressing things so that we overall can improve our community, but overall improve ourselves, improve our community, and improve our finances. It's just so many things we have to address, but we have to do things in order. Yeah, so I love this thing, man, and it gets, it brings it back to our topic about how we keep ourselves, I guess, driven, focused, and passionate. I believe that was it. And again, how do we keep ourselves driven? Me, order, appreciating the people who open the doors for us. I focus on my goals, and I find something that I really love, and I stay passionate about it, and be consistent. You know, I think that will be me a great recipe to being successful. I see a person on there, Michael Gaynor.
Yeah, yeah, that's one of our frat brothers, man. That's my baby, bro. He actually his family was across the street from my family when I lived in Panama City.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, but he one of our frat brothers. He went to Flomo, Betty Pie.
okay. Oh, okay, Betty Pie.
Yeah. So he checking in on me, man. He doing some uplifting things. Very bright, very intelligent brother, and oh
Right.
man, he's another forward thinker, man. His ideas is some things.
Mhm.
He actually wrote a trilogy book. I mean, back in the '80s, man. I mean, he was one of the originators, Michael Gaynor.
Yeah.
So yeah, he wrote his trilogy of books back in the '80s, man. Like mid '80s. I mean, he's been doing it for a long time. So he's a big forward thinker too.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm definitely looking to bring him on. See, he threw up the mobs. You see, he
No,
threw up
I
the
can't see. I
signs.
just see. I just see a thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, bring him on.
If he's available, hey man, hey Mike, you available, man? We'll love to bring you on, brother. Send you over an invite, man, just to show your face. Because Brother Suave, Dr. Brother Suave is author too. I was telling him that you had your trilogy out back in the early mid '80s, man. You were so far in front of the curve, man.
Yes.
So yeah, if you're available, let me know. You can always pop in. I'll send you an invite, brother. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, Brother Suave, I agree with you 100%. I just love the fact that your belief and your passion and your love for what you've been doing for so long, because you was about self-love back in what, 87, 88. I mean, way back in the
Yeah.
day. Yeah, man. So and I can appreciate that. Like I said, great mind. Like what's your phrase about great minds, brother?
Great minds reach great places. You know.
uh uh oh, and this one is going to the week. Salute, to everybody. Happy what's coming up? Happy Dr. King Day. And
Okay.
yeah, for sure. Oh, and we getting ready to start Black History Month too now. Don't forget that.
Oh yes, yes, yes. How much my last drip?
I hear, I hear you. Hey man, how's everything going for you up there in Indianapolis, man? How's everything
Hey
going?
man, listen again. Man, I had to calm down because sometimes, as I told you, I get emotional. And here I am on the air, and people probably seeing it, but I'm transparent because I believe, and transparency equates to empowerment. And as I grow, as I develop, as I evolve, and understanding the journey, understanding the work, again, driven, focused, and passionate. Um, I'm starting to see certain things come in to play. One of the things, and I hold myself accountable. I guess I limited myself on certain things, because I was always intentional about saying I want to make six figures, and I had done that, but I never really, and I believe in the laws of attraction. I believe in speaking things to existence, but I think I limit myself by saying I wanted six figures when we know that people can make six, seven, eight figures. And so what I did was I wrote some things down. I said I wanted to go making seven figures. And then what I did actually do a specific number. And so I was like, it's like praying, being intentional, say exactly what you want. We talk about communication, but we also talk about effective communication. So what I did was just talk to God and talk to like, hey, this is what I want, and start being intentional. And so I start seeing certain things come and manifest. And so I've noticed some of the things I've been doing on the side, and actually, working some things and trying to build a foundation that will probably put me in a better position to live a life that I can help others who are driven. And I think that's important because it's not just about me and my goals, but in a way it is because my goals are to help people, to empower people. And so if and I'm responsible at it. So if I can be in a situation and I can help people, man, these dreams for me, it'll be like Maslow hierarchy need, self-actualization. And so I would love to hit those numbers because personally, I don't need all that, but I know, you know how people, you ever hear professional athletes or celebrities saying they got a family to look out for? Well, how I define family is not always biological. Family is the people who've been in my life, people who I care for, who I respect for, who I love, and I can bless them. You know, and so that's what's important. So I've been noticing a few things been coming through, and it was just a small thing. And again, having some gratitude. Just the other day, someone called me, and again, I don't know anybody from here. Just a few people I met. Cat called me asking that I know anybody in Miami, whatever. And I said, yeah. Made the call. Bam, it was done like that. Next thing you know, somebody's shooting something to me over here, shooting me something over here, and I'm like, wow, just like that. Only because, and so it's, when you look at those small things and being responsible for small things, you're normally blessed with bigger things. And so that's pretty much what's been going on for me, and I'm happy about all these little things, even the reviews that have been inspirational when I've been reading the reviews about me, and then some of the people have been calling me, and so that those little things, man, it keeps me driven. It keeps me driven, and it also helps me focus on continue to do what I'm doing, and because what I'm doing, I'm very passionate about. It even uh, gets me even more motivated to continue to do what I'm doing. It's almost like these things are a figurative pat on the back saying, continue doing what you do, especially when I read some of the views. It just really inspires me, and I tell those people, thank you so much. Thank you so much, because, how people say, well, I don't need nobody to tell me. Yeah, you're true because I've always been self driven, but it is actually a good feeling to read how somebody view you, and the things they actually take the time to do a review on the work that you do and how you touch their life or how you inspired them. And when one of the first things when somebody said, Dr. Walker saved my life, just that alone touched my heart. So I can say it's been a amazing week.
And that's a great thing, brother. I mean, there's purpose behind what we do.
Mm.
So and that's the reason why we have Neighborhood Planet, because we believe in profiting with the purpose. And when I say it in that manner, it means that we're looking to economically empower, because if we economically empower, we can make change.
Yeah,
So and that's and we're making change by movement. So I appreciate it, and we just getting started. And
yeah,
that's the beauty of it all. We're just getting started. I'm developing Neighborhood Planet. I'm actually getting Neighborhood Planet where we're going to be 100% independent by being on being on a decentralized network. So it won't be a point where it's a censorship. All your information that you own is controlled by you, and your data is safe because it's with you. It's on a blockchain. So Neighborhood Planet is getting ready to take it to that point where
yeah,
we have that safety, and you have that freedom to speak without without the restrictions, without the jails, the virtual jails that they've created
yes,
now. So we can have conversation with us.
yeah,
I believe that dialogue and communication and conversation is extremely important for us, because
hmm,
in the most sense, we all have been through the same experiences, even though the situations and the characters and the players in that scene might be different. We've all experienced basically a lot of the same things,
yeah,
and we need to be able to freely talk, and because we speak the same language. You know what I'm saying? And we speak a language that maybe others don't understand, because when we say certain things and the way that we say things, we understand it and embrace it. But it's others that don't, because they don't understand it. They don't speak
yeah,
our language,
yeah,
and
exactly.
we need that, and that because I believe that's been our one of our faults and one of our challenges, and one of the things that we need to overcome is being able to talk to each other. We need dialogue, we need communication, and I sit back and I think about it. Not only that, we need to have old school community in a new world now. I mean, in this virtual world that we have, we live in two worlds. We live in a physical world and a virtual world. It's just facts. So we really living in the matrix. But we need to be able to do that old school, old community stuff where our dollars stayed in our communities for a while. You know, we need to let we need to create it where our dollars circulate, you know, 5, 6, 8, 10 times before it leaves our community, because most of the time our money don't even come to our community. A person
Yeah.
gets their paycheck, they get their paycheck, and they're out in the mall. They're wherever they're at, and these are not black owned businesses.
Hmm.
It's not taking care of black families, paying for black educations, taking care of, you know what I'm saying?
Oh
So
yes, yes.
yeah, so what neighborhood planning is going to do is create that environment where it's going to be that way, but it's going to be virtual, because we always talk. They always said that they were going to give us 40 acres in a mule. For me, I'm like, give me 40 acres in a Maybach. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
and that way we can work together as business owners and in the community and develop what we need to develop. So that's what Neighborhood Planet is here to for is here for, to be able to help people to see things differently, you know, and to be able to provide resources and be able to provide a resource of understanding. And I'm just excited about it, man, because I do have Neighborhood Planet getting developed on a decentralized network where it
Yeah.
isn't restricted.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I'm excited about it, man, and I'm excited about, you know, bringing Brother Suave to the world, and you know
Yes.
it's gonna be amazing, man. I'm just excited about the journey, and I'm so anxious and ready to go with it, man. It's just gonna,
Absolutely.
yeah, man, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah,
And
you got a
and,
lot to share. You got a lot to
and,
share, brother.
but you remember when I send you that thing, you see when I said I'm being strategic, like shout out some birthdays and being able to shout out to black businesses. And so that's a little category I'm doing. And even like today, I have these things when I look at the four things, you know, that I, over the last 24 hours, like this place called Smell Good. It was some oils. It was in a brother who's selling oils, and I got about five of them. He gave me it's buy four, get one free. So I got five oils. I went to this vegan place called Always Beans, which is black owned, the book, and also supporting a person who does the commercial. What I'm saying, putting that together. And I did meet a brother who does construction, owns his own construction company, and so I'm definitely going to send his business out. And so you know, I guess trying to make sure again that you know we walk what we talk, you know. And so being able to what we do is trying to uh, um, endorse and talk about neighborhood planning, and again being aware of our business, what we have to offer, and tapping into our talent and understand our language. I one of the privileges I had recently was to meet a brother who was born in the Congo but raised in America, New York, and and he said something so profound. You know how you were saying understanding our language. So what he did was tell me about, I think it was, yeah, the Congo. He said they talk very loud there, and he was saying, you know, and then he mentioned something about the slave trade, and so many people came from that area or whatever. And he says, and when we talking to each other, and people say, man, why y'all so loud? You know, when brothers and we all together, and people are so intimidated, but none of us. There is no anger, there is no tension, but someone on the outside being all afraid, like why they sound so aggressive, but they don't have any idea of our language, our tones, and don't identify with, and then they interpret it and document it, and it be so freaking wrong. And it's almost like when one of the things I've learned was I think it was Good Times, I believe, and they was writing this language, and I think James Evans, well, he was always considered a troublemaker. He was saying that's not how we talk or what we would say. And so sometimes you got to try to get black writers in to understand the language. And that's why sometimes it was such a disconnect with some of the sitcoms in the 70s, because they wasn't having black writers to help you identify what will be said. And so now, you know, so we need to have our own, again, our platform to understand our language. If we happen to use the word finna, nobody's going to be sitting there saying we use the wrong word. We already know. We don't have to sit there and try to publicly humiliate each other by trying to correct each other. It can go smooth because we already know what it is. We having our dialogue on our network and our language by our people, you know. And I just love your vision. I'm happy that you did it because again, you're doing something that somebody should do, you know. And I think what we have to do is be more mindful. And again, the few people I spoke to this week, you know how some people say I'll check it out, but again, it ain't about talking; it's about walking. And words got to be consistent with actions because they can't sit there and say I didn't give you um um your number to reach out to them. Just like my branding and everything, I'll come up with something, but I'm going to go to somebody and say, hey, brother, I need you to do this because again, my money that I make is going to go towards our community because I'm going to contribute. My part of it's going um in my community, and I told somebody just today, pro-black does not mean anti-white or anything because I love everybody, and we all have our political beliefs or our religious beliefs that may differ from other groups. But meeting me, I'm not going to treat any human being worse than the other. Everyone knows me. I'm pro-black, but it doesn't mean that I don't have a problem because I have clients, I have patients, I have friends, all, and everybody knows my stance. But again, because I love me some me, don't mean I hate you. And I think we have to understand how important that is, and we have to again communicate that to everybody, but it being effective in how we communicate it, because sometimes they can misinterpret. So we have to be very intentional in the words that we use, so therefore they can clearly understand our stance. So they won't understand like, hey, who you're loyal to. Just because I'm loyal to like my family, don't mean I'm not gonna have your back, frat. But we all know order and protocol. I don't expect me to become before your children, your wife, your parents, but I know you respect me. Well, see, we have to understand that because you love them, don't mean you hate me. And I think we have to start understanding that when it comes to what we're trying to build. What we're trying to build, because historically we've been behind the eight ball and we're trying to take it because we come from royalty and we want to sit there and represent that. We are brilliant people, you know.
I agree with you on that 100%. I couldn't have said it better myself. But when it comes to it, I don't think that we as a culture have a problem understanding each other. I think that other cultures have a problem with the way that we want to empower ourselves, the way that we love ourselves. And that's the thing with me. That's why I say I'm branding Black America to the world with Neighborhood Planet, because I know from my international travel that other countries' ideas of who Black Americans are determined by those TV shows that they show in those other countries, because a lot of people from those other countries never even been to America. So they use those shows
Yeah.
and reflect those shows from mainstream media and other media outlets to show who we are to other cultures, and that's what they're getting bombarded with, and that's
Mm-hmm.
why they have the idea that they do, and you can tell by the businesses that they establish when they come to America.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
so for me, it's about being able to be able to dictate the narrative and control our imagery. That's why I say we branded Black America to the world. We letting the world know I don't need somebody else to represent me to show you who we are. I'm going to show you who we are because I am who we are.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the important part of all of this at the end of the day. I know that being able to commercialize and being able to monetize, which is the hot button word, is the thing. But at the same time, we gotta, like I said, we gotta have a purpose behind our profit. So that's why Neighborhood Planet was built, and that's why everything that's evolving from Neighborhood Planet and other entities that's brothers and sisters to Neighborhood Planet is about profiting with the purpose, because we have to make sure that we can preserve this rich culture. Our culture is so rich, there's no value that you can put on it. There is no monetary number that you can put on our culture, because so many other cultures have taken our culture and monetized it themselves and made so much money off of us. And we sitting back letting them do it, and then we also partaking of what they're doing. So I just think that we need, as far as being able to open the consciousness, regardless of the things that you see and the technology and the way that technology spreads and so much information and knowledge that's available. I love this technology era. I love the fact that you don't have to be stupid. You don't have to be in the dark. You don't have to say, I wonder what if. The thing about it is you don't have to wonder about nothing because you have the answer to every question in the world, logical question,
Yeah.
in your pocket, on your phone. On your
Hmm.
smartphone, you can ask any question and get the answer to it. That's I never dreamt of something like this being true.
Yeah.
Because we had Frat,
Right, riders, man.
we used to have to go to the library and get an encyclopedia.
Mm, mm.
Huh? We used to have to go to the library and look up a microfiche, go to the index
Yes.
card, and
Yes. And
find
then
the book.
hard.
Find the book. And the thing about it is, the book is not brand new. That book is probably 5 years old at the youngest. And then
Youngest.
maybe, and then 10 years old. And then that's what we read. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have the technology that we have now. We used to get stuff that we even used to hear news stories that was 2 weeks old.
Yeah.
Especially if it was international news. Come on, man. International news, you might get it a month later.
Remember the
You know what I'm
Miami
saying?
Times?
Yeah, and that's the point. Even if it was something going on in New York, if I'm here in Florida, I might not hear it for about 5 days because that was the media. They didn't
Yeah.
hurry up and get it to you, but now you got everything in your pocket. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I love this technology era, but I feel as though we need to empower ourselves through that. And not only that, we have to have a purpose to be able to make sure that we reinforce and that we empower ourselves. And I think that's where a lot of times, because of the perception of things, that the separation comes in. I hear a lot of times that because I love my culture and I want to do this specifically for my culture, that I'm promoting separation. I'm promoting division. No, where I'm living in this system and construct, it's been divided. I came over here. My ancestors came over here involuntarily. So
Yeah.
I didn't divide anything. What I'm doing is trying to make the best out of the situation that I have. I'm trying to play the best hand, my best poker hand with the cards that I'm dealt. So don't get angry at me. And like you said, it don't mean that I don't like I don't like your side, or I don't like who you are, because I love who we are.
Yes.
And that's the purpose behind Neighborhood Planet. It's about loving who we are. So
Yeah.
for me to empower and bring love to my unit, don't get angry with me about that, because you show love for your unit and been showing love for your unit and showing no love to my unit at the same time. And
Yeah.
matter of fact, you showed so much love that my unit was held back because of you. So don't get angry at me because I'm trying to uplift my unity and my love for my family. So I'm with you on that, Frat. I'm with
Yeah.
you 100%, man. And like I was talking to my wife too, I've been one of those guys that's been the only one like me in a bunch of, I'll say at least in 90% of the situations in my life. Through first through sixth grade, I was the only black boy in my class, from first through sixth grade, and it was a Catholic school. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
So
so you went to those too. So you know.
yeah, I know. So I was the only black boy in my class from first through sixth grade in Catholic
Mhm.
school. So I know what it's like to be in a non-comfort zone. I'm being in a zone that I'm not comfortable. It's something that's natural for me. It's been
Yeah.
plenty of places that I was the only one that looked like me. I'm not
Yeah.
intimidated by that, but it don't make me react to you any differently. What has happened for me is I was conditioned to understand. I had no choice but to understand. So I'm appreciative of that. But like you said, and what I guess got me on this little, passionate rant that I have, is that because I love me and love us, don't mean I hate you.
Yeah.
And to be honest about it, if you can't understand that, I don't care if you feel that way.
Exactly.
I'm just keeping it real. I
Yeah.
want unity. I want love. I want abundance. I do
Yeah.
want that. But the
You know.
point is, if you can't understand my love for my family, what conversation do we need to have?
Yeah, I agree. I think sometimes when you can stand your ground and speak intentionally, let people know what you mean and where you stand. I think there's going to be some people who respect that. I can go back to my mentor now. I remember I thought he was singling me out when he told me to go and do the syllabus. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, you know me or something? Did I ask for this attention? I'm like, what you trying to do? And so he said, do it. And I was like, bruh, I'm not doing that. Who do you mean? You got all these cats. Now here it is. Um, remember I had the goals. I'm like, who is this cat trying to single me out? Like, you crazy? But guess what? Now, it's been 30 some years. He's still my mentor. And one of the things he pulled me inside, and I remember him, he was sitting there saying, I know you was gonna be a little uncomfortable, but this is when he showed me about, tapping into certain things. And I'm like, he said, I see greatness in you. And I'm thinking like he's just trying to single me out. He's almost like the coach who you think don't like you, but he sees something in you and he's pushing you and see how you respond to it. So mind you, this was a Jewish professor, and I remember he had pulled me and told me something, and he asked me, "Did I like and how did I feel about the?" He said like this: "The white boy who tried to act black." I said, "I don't trust him, and I don't like it." And when he said this, he said, "Well, that's the same way I feel about the black dude who's trying to act white. I don't trust him." That stuck with me all these years. And he says, the reason is because you are who you are, and I want you to stay that way. Don't change for nobody. Nobody, you don't need to try to act like somebody else. Be yourself. People will respect you and they'll know your truth. The people who putting on those masks, trying to get somebody to co-sign them or get validate them or trying to be accepted, we don't trust them because we know they only doing it because they got an agenda.
I was saying, I got two mute buttons. I was saying, drop those jewels on them, brother. Drop those jewels on them because that was so sound. And you know what? It would be that. Um, and I can appreciate it, man. And I'm glad you said that. For me, more so than anything else, I'm glad that our conversations here are being chronicled. It's being preserved.
Mm-hmm.
But you saying that it's just it was just I don't know. It just kind of overwhelmed me for a minute. Gave me a little overwhelming feeling
Mm-hmm.
because that was just so profound, and it's good to know because of the power structure and the powers that be.
Yeah.
And to hear um, their opinions. I mean, the thing about it is, we have an ideal about what things should be, and then there's an actuality of what things are.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and to get it from that side of it is it's important for us to understand.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate you dropping that jewel on us, brother.
Yeah. And I appreciate it. We still talk like and you may see him on my social media every now and then. And you see he always do the same thing. Thank you for empowering people. It's good that you do to drop those jewels and touching people. He always does something positive. It's 30 plus years, man. This man has always supported me. I mean, and I'm like, man, you're talking about this old Jewish dude and this kid from the hood, but he always edifying me and saying, man, it's good what you do. Continue the good work. And I appreciate it because he held me accountable.
I hear you. And you know what? Most of those old Jewish dudes are nothing but kids from the hood. Let's keep it real.
Yeah.
We got to understand their story too. That's one thing about it is, there was one time a big thing about it back in the mid to late 80s about the Holocaust versus the, mid Atlantic,
Hmm.
transition with the slaves. And unless you read their story, you don't respect it. And I can respect it because really,
Hmm.
There's a lot of similarities there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And those, and to hear it from those guys, and I appreciate it because a lot of my mentors in my like sales career, especially,
Yeah.
they were oldest Jewish guys, and they were
Yeah.
genuine, and they had true love for you. They didn't cut any corners. If it was a point, if they didn't get down with you, they just didn't get down with you. It wasn't. They didn't hide it. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? But if they embraced you, they did, and they would give you jewels like you were just
Yeah.
saying right
And,
now.
and that's one thing I've learned about groups is people forget there are cultures and subcultures. You got the people, like no matter what religious philosophy is, it's the people in those religious philosophies who are trying to bring world peace. And then there's people in that religious, all these different religious philosophy is trying to create division, you know? So people got to understand. It's like, for example, both cultures have been through hell. So you got the people who are trying to win and say, my story is worse than yours. Or then you got the people who are just going to be empathetic saying, you went through yours and we went through ours. And I think sometimes when you try to just be empathetic, it makes it less contentious. And so I think sometimes people just got to be understanding because I'm not going to sit here and be on our platform and trying to edify them and saying they're so much better. I'm just trying to talk about an issue of there are people who are understanding, compassionate towards other person's struggles. And I just had my particular story about somebody who talked to me about some things and supported me, you know. And so, man, again, I'm loving our dialogue today. Hey, did you get any luck from Michael Gaynor?
Actually, actually, the brother said he wouldn't be able to make it on tonight, but what
Okay.
I did do is gave him an open invitation, because
Okay, great.
I would love for him to come back and to re-energize his his books because like I said, he was writing books, man. I'm talking about it had to be the mid to late '80s. He was on it, brother, and I can
Hmm.
appreciate it just like you. It was about forward thought,
Hmm.
but what meant more to me was his roots and his grounding because his family was
Hmm.
so close, and
Yeah.
it all boils down to, and what it picks is the fact of how we're connected with the Creator. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
and, and where's your spiritual grounding? And that's why I say I love the divine part of your therapy.
Yeah.
And that mindset and that temperament of divineness in that, because it's so important for us to understand that there is something greater than us. I mean, facts are facts. There's something
Yeah.
greater than us, and I feel as though that as long as you're implementing that further greatness into what you're doing, it's
Hmm.
only going to make you greater.
Yeah.
So I figured, you know what? Let me just run a couple of promos on here for us so we can
Okay.
do some station identification, and we'll be back in a minute, frat.
go. Oh, he got the change up.
Yeah, man. I'm like I said, I'm trying to. Hold on a second. I hear some vibrations in here. Let me get this right here.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm just trying to get us formatted. I've been working on it. You know, it's been slow because I've been spread so thin, but I'm bringing it all into the center and getting a lot more focus, Frat. So I'm anticipating it, and you know, I'm looking forward to being able to bring your show on, bring Brother Father Six on, and really just start building more. You know, and I'm excited about it, man. I'm excited about it, especially we got that Martin Luther King show tomorrow. So I'm gonna end up going in and going to work tonight and tomorrow night, and make sure that we can be on point for Monday, and you know, be able to talk about it, brother. Just be able to talk about it. You know, neighborhood planet. Like I said, we are Black American public broadcasting service, and you know, and the thing about it is that again, you know, I guess I have to talk into modern day things and saying I'm not trying to offend anybody and cause any further division, you know, to make sure that I'm correct about it. But it's just a point that I believe that we need to have those communications, have those conversations, like you were said, whenever we can talk our language, and even if we use the word finna, you know, it's just what it is. Because the thing about it is that whenever we start talking, we all have family that speak in all kind of ways, and you understand very well. I don't care where you live. If you live up north, you got family down south. I don't care. I don't care. You got family down south, and you know that you see them. They saying what they say and they speak how they speak. But you know, whenever they speak, you understand. So that's one thing that we're doing here is we're making sure that we can have our conversations with each other and we can empower each other. And I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate the stories that you're telling because I believe that the right mind can be able to absorb what you're saying and be able to pull from it and be able to contribute. And that's all we want. We want people to come in and contribute regardless of how much you contribute or how less you contribute. We just want you to contribute. So with Brother Suave's show, we're going to bring people in. I know that it used to be about the call in, but now we're going to put your face on the screen. We're going to let you talk directly with Dr. Brother Suave. And speaking of Dr. Brother Suave, the intellectual property, I got you on that. You know, the thing is that I believe in securing, and I live in this virtual world real hard, y'all, because I'm like a property developer that you see out here in the regular world. Like they go and they demo everything and they get ready to build a mall on a piece of property. I'm doing the same thing virtually, though. I'm looking to come here and be able to make sure that we're in our place in a virtual space because that's where the future is in this virtual space. So to be able to have the address, Dr. Brother Suave, it's important because it represents who my brother is here. And we got to show love and we got to make sure that we secure those things for my brother. So, you know, and we move fast, but the thing is that we forward think. We make sure that we look toward the future and be able to make sure we're not caught behind the curve because I believe in being a manufacturer and a producer of things instead of a consumer of things. Because that's where wealth is built. That's where generational changes are made. And I think that need to be made. That's why I say forget the 40 acres and a mule. I want 40 acres in a Maybach. That's what I want. You know, and I know that during this time that we can do that, I see that it's so many others out there besides us. If when I say that, y'all know what I'm talking about. That is, you know, that's making and creating these things. But we're huge consumers, but we know everything about it. Why? Why are we such huge consumers, but we're the experts on it? You know, we're the experts on it. So I just want to be able to make sure that we have a place where we can come in and be holistically, unapologetically us, but all of us. I mean, be everything that we can possibly be, and that's what Neighborhood Planet has been built for. And again, we got to control the media. We got to control the narrative. So I'm just making sure that we have the resource and the tool to be able to create that type of environment for us. So that's why me and Dr. Brother Suave are here every week. Regardless of what day we coming on, we gonna come on. You know, regardless of how long we're gonna be on, we gonna come on. You know, so I'm excited about that. I'm happy about that. I'm glad my brother is here with me. The general unfortunately couldn't make it tonight, but He'll be here next week. One thing about him is he is a consistent hitter. He's a 300 batter. He get up in front of the plate. He gonna put the ball in play. So I'm proud of that. I'm glad to have my brother here with me, man. And you know, I can't talk about it enough. So yeah, we looking forward to it, and we're looking to have the Dr. King show tomorrow, in respect for Dr. King, and because he did so much for us. And but the one thing about it is that that Dr. Brother Swaz said is that there's others who laid the groundwork for that, like Thurgood Marshall. Because regardless of what we believe in, what we want to do, if the law is not made, and that I believe that's the challenge, is that the laws is has been built or has been created and being implemented to make it difficult. But it's about changing the law, and that's one thing I always say is that we need lawmakers on our team. Because the laws is what determine and dictates. Because it's plain and clear. One thing about law is it's plain and clear. At the end of the day, we know it's interpretation is a big part of it, but still, it's plain and clear. The words are there. So we need lawmakers, and we need people that also want to be able to have the desire to make sure that the law works in our favor in every aspect, whether it's civil or criminal, or societal, at the same time. So, but yeah, Brother Swab, I'm glad to have you here. I'm getting my language right. But I'm glad to have you here again. Congratulations on your PhD, man. That's an amazing accomplishment, and I'm just glad to have you on Neighborhood Planet Network to help build what we're trying to do here and to be able to help empower people. And we're going to continue to do this with the help of you and others that will come in and contribute. And I appreciate your stories. I appreciate the jewels that you dropped in with us, and also being able to talk to us and help us to kind of have some type of roadmap to navigate through those things that keep us unbalanced, man. I appreciate that, brother.
So to be here, and again, we got to understand the consistency. You know, like some of the things what I tell my patients, I say today is the present, tomorrow is the future. When the future becomes the present, you can either appreciate the past or you learn how much you didn't know. But one thing about this is what we're striving, and we here right now, but tomorrow's the future. When that future becomes the present, we'll look back and say, man, I'm glad we put in the work. And now what we're doing now, again, monetizing, having a purpose, and look how many, we having talking about creating a whole bunch of on air personalities, programs, our own content, and the vision that you have. I'm talking about if we're gonna be looking like, man, how you people sitting there saying, oh, there's so much stuff, you didn't put in. We may be a little older, but we're gonna remember, like you were saying, this is history we're doing right now. This is gonna be an archive. This may be all white, you know, and then but we'll look and say, man, we put the work in, we open the door, and it's legacy, and it's great, and I tell, we gonna look back and like, dad, remember that, just like we're looking back when we was in college back in the days, like, dang, it's a long time ago, but it passed, and again, understanding our health, our physical health, our mental health, our spiritual health, and we continue to be consistent with that. We're gonna be older, but we're still gonna be vibrant. We're gonna be clear-minded, and we're gonna like, okay, yeah, I know that seemed like 30 years ago, but I'm 80, 84, and I'm like, yeah, we all seen those people who are in their 80s, they vibrant, they're sharp, and I believe I'm gonna be like that, you know. So I enjoyed the night, my man. Right, I loved it. That mute button.
Okay, the person you talking about, the 80-year-old man. That's my mother. She's my idol. I just got to be
Mhm.
real about it. Anybody ask me, is there someone who influenced your life beyond content and beyond understanding? It's my mother, man. Her energy is so young that even my family assumes that everything is going to be okay. She was born in 1940, so she's getting ready to be 82. You know, in
Mm-hmm.
April. In April, she was born April 22nd. So,
Mm-hmm.
but she get around. So she drives herself around. You know, she lives alone. But of course, family checking on her. But it's just her independence and her energy and her belief in God, and you know, it's just who she is that inspires me so
Mm-hmm.
much and drives me so much because she has that same spirit that you were
Mm-hmm.
just speaking of. You know, and but it's good to be able to touch into that. It's good to be able to have colleagues and family and brothers and sisters and that has the same mindset. And one thing that I have with again with Neighborhood Planners is Recycle Teen TV because I believe that we're nothing but recycled teenagers because I believe that we started this entire trend with the technology is there. The technology has developed on its own, but we started this entire trend. I mean, we were there when getting on the internet was dial up. You had to wait till there was something available. You heard that long noise for 2 minutes.
That what that was?
Oh, you already know. Net zero, AOL. Come on, man. We know the
So
time.
that was waiting for you to get on. I never knew what it meant.
What's that?
The sound.
Oh, I don't know what the sound meant either, but I'm just saying, still, we had to do that to get on the internet. You know what I'm saying? Now,
Yeah.
it has nothing to do with that, you know? And I just feel we was there at the beginning of the trends. I believe that we are the OGs of the current culture at the end of the day. You know, and that's not any knock or knocking anybody because I believe that this younger generation, that you know, the 35s and less, they're the most intelligent generations that we ever seen. I mean, I look at my 1 year old granddaughter and how she gets the phone and how she looks at the phone, even though she can't talk yet. The way that she holds the phone herself and she looks
Mm-hmm.
at us when we FaceTime her, you know, and she smiles and she laughs. I mean, it's amazing, man. It's like the Jetsons right now in
Mm-hmm.
2020. You know what I'm saying? So I love this. I would just want to absorb it and suck in that energy and that intelligence that they have because they do have an intelligence. They're the most intelligent generation that we've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
facts. But at the same time, I believe that the technology is also crippling them because whenever you ask them a question or you start talking to them, they have to hit Google or they lose their attention span because you have too long a conversation with them. And I'm not saying all the youth. I'm saying a lot of the youth. And there's nothing wrong with that because I understand the way
It's
that
not.
things are moving so fast. You know, it's not about absorbing or putting so much time into something because everything is moving fast now. Shit that we couldn't even imagine when we were young.
Yeah.
You know, it's
And
moving. It's moving so fast, Frat. You know, and
yeah,
I
no,
could,
no.
yeah, and I could appreciate that, and I love it. I just want to learn even more. That's the point with me is that I'm a lifetime student. One thing about me, my addiction is learning. I love
Yeah.
learning more, whether it's from a person, whether it's from a program, whether it's from a class, whether it's from a seminar, whatever it may come from. I love to
Mm.
learn, you know, and I'll never stop learning. But at the same time, you know, you have to be realistic and you have to see things in your generation that you came from make you move a little differently. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing I can say is that for us, we was around when it all started.
Yeah.
We were here before MTV. You know, we were here before internet. You know, we were here before the microwave oven. You know, we
Yeah.
were here before the cell phone. You know, and
Crop.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we were
Yeah.
here before a lot of stuff. So we understand. You know, I tell people when we laugh about it, but I'm like, you know, I was around when beepers first came out. Before the digital beeper, it was just a regular beeper, and you had to call your answering service number. It just made a noise. You had to call the answering service number to get what your message is from
Mm-hmm.
a real agent or a real secretary, whoever to a real answering service.
And what
You
about when
know,
TV went off?
TV went off at night every night, and then went down to
Yeah, they didn't even know that.
that little dot.
Yep.
They'll play the national anthem, and they go down to a little dot because you had tubes in the back of the TV, brother.
Yeah. People don't even know that when TV went off or the dial. Because I remember there was a thing showing some kid how did they. I don't know how to use that phone because it was dial up. It was thou.
Right, right,
Yeah, you
right.
know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I
I
think, and when I was working on my doctorate, it was a class, God, but we was having a discussion why they were saying these kids are made different, and it's this universal thing that in terms of the whole world, not just America, is that their brains and they're wired differently, and it's almost like a new DNA strand for the new kids. If you notice, the language is through icons. So what you remember how when we got cell phones, we had to read the instructions? You're not gonna have a 6-month-old baby learning how to read. They know how to use phones before they get a year or whatever. You're like, how do they learn how to do this? And they're not reading, but they identify through icons. So what happens is we had patience because we knew you had to read a whole story to find a famous quote. Now they have Google and they can look at it. So what happens is, remember the term instant gratification. So what happens is we had patience because we knew you had to go and look up things. So mentally, you prepared yourself to say, "I'm going to have to spend a couple of hours in the library, so I'm going to have to go through the things, and then I'm gonna have to look on the aisles, and I'm gonna have to go to find the book, and I'm gonna have you know how you carry all them books in the library, you sit at the table, and you got to go through 1 through 4, 5, 6, 7, and you know you're going to be there studying for a while, just trying to find it. So you had the patience, and so what happens is you was able to deal with rejection, you was able to deal with the errors of time. So what happens is we got less frustrated, less depressed, less suicide. So what happens is we were talking about this in class. So now these kids, you see, before you could talk to your kid, before you can get the sentence out, oh, it's over here. They feel good, like they did something, because they don't have the patience to even hear you out, because things happen so quickly. So now, and when they're not reaching the level of success like they believe they should, they get depressed quicker. When they don't achieve the goals that they think they should at a certain time, they get depressed, and then the passive death wishes happen. Occur. The suicidal ideations occur, and sometimes they commit because they're like, I'm a failure. I'm 26 years old and I haven't done this, and I realize they still developing because they look at your success and almost like a prima donna. I supposed to be there, like you just got there overnight, but they feel like they should be there overnight, and you're seeing a lot of stuff, so they get a little frustrated, and unfortunately, they're just completely wired different from us. It's almost like a different strand of human beings, and they're smarter. I didn't say
way
common sense.
smarter. They
Yes,
are.
way
They're way
smarter.
smarter than us.
Yes, and
Because of their
sometimes
access, they have access to information though, Fred. We didn't have, like we were just talking about, not too long ago in this same show about we had to go to the library and get things. And think about it is we had to get an encyclopedia edition, and they only limited. See, one thing about it was where I grew up at, we only had like 3 high schools in our county.
yeah, you mentioned
So
that.
yeah, so whenever we have, usually, it goes in the cycles and it's scheduled the way that it's scheduled. So whenever it's scheduled, it's kind of uniform throughout the school district or whatever it may be.
Mm.
So they would limit the amount of time that a person can have have an encyclopedia book. You might have only 2 hours, and the librarian would come and look for you if you had longer than 2 hours, because all the kids had to have their final exams or their final reports done by a certain time. Everybody had to. So you only allowed so much time with that book, because the kid would go to the librarian desk,
Hmm.
sign out, say what book they're looking for, and
Hmm.
the librarian would know, but it was on index card. It
Yeah,
wasn't technology. It wasn't where it was saved on the computer or you could look it up on the computer. No, it was on an index card. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And they would have you to write and sign it off on a list or whatever it may be, and they would go and look for that person to make sure that they get that book so the next student can use it to be able to write their midterm report or their final year report or whatever it may be. And man, so times was a lot different than they are now.
Mm. Yeah.
And the convenience that these generations have now is amazing. It's amazing. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it, but it's amazing compared to when we were high school students.
Yeah.
And so that's where the conversation comes up with me and the youngins a lot of times is, when I grew up, this how much different it was. I'm not knocking what you do in your hustle and how you move and that type of thing. I'm just letting you know where it came from, and how it has evolved. And the only thing I want you to do is appreciate it.
Appreciate.
Appreciate what sacrifices we had to make, even if it was only 40 years ago or 30 years ago. Just appreciate what we done. And I think and I strongly feel, that's the failure, is the fact that the generations that came before us don't truly appreciate the struggles and the sacrifices that we made compared to the freedoms that has evolved for them now. Because what we sacrificed and gave away, it did evolve into more freedom for you. That's all I'm saying. Appreciate the OG. Appreciate the old school. Appreciate the aunt and uncles. Appreciate what we had to do. And I say that in a manner that when I was young, I can understand because I was given those stories. I was given the story about vagrancy laws for blacks. It was a point where two black men couldn't be together. If more than two black men could not be together, or they had to have valid state issued or municipality state issued ID, or their ass would go to jail. It was just facts. So my dad used to ingrain in me is, son, you always carry your state ID. Always carry your driver's license. Because you can get caught up with this vagrancy thing. He used to tell me about how they used to get caught up with vagrancy laws. That if two black men, specifically two black men, more than two black men were together, you got to have some ID to show who you are. Because the police can stop and ask you for your ID. It was facts.
Yeah.
So, the only thing I'm saying is that, the younger generation, I feel, need to appreciate more what the older generations, even the generation before us, sacrificed. It was a point where the generation before us or the generation before them couldn't even vote at all.
Yeah.
So those are the stories I think need to be reiterated.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think that neighborhood plan is so important, because we are about our culture. We are about who we are, unapologetically. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a big part of what we need, because I feel that that's something that's strongly missing for us, brother. Yeah, I think it's strongly missing for us. But man, it's 10 o'clock already, Frat.
Yeah.
But you know what, man? I appreciate you taking time out. Again, I'm gonna talk to you offline since we get through. Even if it ain't but 5 minutes, I'm gonna let you know about drbrotherfrat.com. drbrothersuave.com. I got you covered on that, and drbrothersuave.org. I got you covered on that too.
Right.
Yeah, man, for sure. We gotta empower ourselves, and ain't no better bet. Like Wesley Snipes said, always bet on black. No, I'm gonna always bet on me.
Mm-hmm.
We have to, and if we're a team, I love the fact that you betting on yourself. I'd much rather for you to invest in you, because that means that you believe in you.
Yeah.
And that makes us continue to elevate as a team. And that's one thing that I know that you and I had conversations about many times, is about team. And I love the fact that you are the leader that you are, and that you have the concept of team. You understand, and you will sacrifice to make sure that you can be the leader that you need to be for the team. And I'm excited about that, man. We're going into a brand new year. We're ready to do some brand new things. Get ready to come out with your show. We get ready to come out Father to Six show. Man, I'm excited, brother. I'm just truly excited. I'm just looking forward to us be able to come on and have some type of conversations in the Cipher tomorrow, and get a chance to start building on Dr. King's Day. And then whenever we get to Black History Month coming February 1st, we
Mhm.
really get a chance to kick him in the face. So I'm just excited, man. So, any closing thoughts, any closing words, any closing emotions, whatever you want to talk about, brother. Let's make it happen.
Well, again, just for all those out there who was able to join us tonight, just remember, keep yourself focused on your dreams, stay driven, stay focused, and stay passionate. As I always say, potential without initiative is nothing but a conversation with yourself and others and doing absolutely nothing. If you got the potential to do something, take the initiative and take charge of your life. Because at the end of the day, great minds reach great places.
Man, I'm still working with these mute buttons, man. I need to figure out a way that I can automate these things. But again, like I was saying, brother, stay well, stay safe up there in Indianapolis. I know it's cold up there because it was in the low 50, I mean high 50s, low 60s down here in South Florida. So that's cold for us. And I just look forward to being able to help to get your word out there for you to share your love, share your experiences with the show. Father to Six, looking forward to it too. I know we know you were tied up tonight, brother, but family comes first, so we can appreciate that. Thanks so much. Neighborhood Planet, our neighborhood world, we're looking to build this thing. So, anyone that's out there listening to us, looking at us, we're open. The platform is open for you. We believe that broadcasting should be a public service. So that's why Neighborhood Planet was created to enhance, to engage, to enlighten, to empower our culture. That's the most important thing. But again, thank you for coming into the Saturday Cipher. It is my brother, Dr. Brother Suave, looking to kick the doors down, coming in 2022. Can't wait. It's your brother, Sheldon from Sheldon TV. You know the love. Hey, we appreciate it, Brother Suave. Thank you, man. Hey, you stay safe out there. Be well. Ain't nothing but love between us, King. And we going to go ahead and shut it down tonight, y'all. Appreciate you coming in. Hey, one love. Happy Dr. Martin Luther King Day. We get a chance to really celebrate the holiday now. So, because when I first came up, we didn't get a chance to celebrate it too much. They weren't feeling that thing. But hey, y'all. Hey, we doing it for the culture. We doing it for the love, and we doing it for y'all. Y'all be good out there. Take care of yourselves. It ain't nothing but love in here. Peace.